And it's not that as we evolve on our path, we lose our individuality. We just gain our collectiveness. Yeah. And I think you're on the money there with the whole kind of like, when we invoke that, does it really matter whether it comes from within or without? It doesn't matter. As long as it shows up for us and it works for us and we get some nourishment from it, it becomes, like you said, an intellectual questioning. And this is often the difficulty with spiritual and sort of these esoteric things, is that we can think about it till the cows come home, and you can make yourself completely balmy thinking about it, because essentially these questions cannot be answered. They have to be experienced. And that experience is unique, completely special to our own experience. Whilst we were sitting and doing the meditation, I chose, and I've never done this before, I chose to have the sense, the anchor of my meditation in the sensation in my hands. And I really felt like there were two other hands, they're holding my hands, and that kind of white light kind of energy. And immediately my mind went into, okay, so that's an angel. That's just an intellectual concept. It's just because I've been told that angels are white or male. It felt like a male energy, and there's, depending on what school of thought, it's like, some person's angel. It's just so complicated. It's like, just give up thinking about it.
No,
But I think it shouldn't be underestimated that, this is why I say earlier about, it's not that this ego energy or these intellectual ideas or these visual images that come to us are wrong. They can be very useful. We need our ego, and we need our intelligence, and we need to be able to visualize things or remember things or have a concept about something. But so it's not the concept that becomes the hindrance. It's the allowing the concept to constantly evolve and change, and not to be attached to it. This whole Buddhist idea of non-attachment. Maybe you've heard that. Have you heard of that? Yeah. So, non-attachment to our thoughts, to our philosophy, maybe even to our religion, maybe especially to our religion. Let's have a bit of spaciousness around, recognition that there are lots of different teachers, there's lots of different enlightened masters, there's lots of different traditions, and no one of them can claim to have the truth. They're all versions of the same truth, really, but expressed in a different way. And this whole kind of like, we've got the truth. We've got the truth. No, I think we have, actually. No. I'm going to invade your country and kill all of the people who don't agree with me. Now, I think that's outrageous, frankly. It's like, whoa, suddenly you've got genocide and war and... Completely. You've got two people who essentially agree with each other, killing each other for the sake of the fact that they don't agree with everything. And it's like, ego, energy. My God, my beliefs, my version of the truth, and feeling very threatened by those who have a different opinion or a different understanding or a different experience. It's very challenging for people to hear that pain can be a gift. It's very challenging for people to hear that we choose our own parents. Some people are ready to hear that message. Other people are not. For some people it will be true, and some people it won't. And that's fine, because with all spiritual teachers, hang on just 1 minute, with all spiritual teachers, with all spiritual texts, take what resonates and leave the rest. It's so crucial. Yeah, Sylvia.
No, isn't that lovely?
Yeah, that's why I say there's nothing inherently wrong with concepts and imageries and icons and dogma, or it's not the tools, it's how we use the tools.
Absolutely.
It's how ready we are to evolve and say, actually, this tool doesn't suit me any longer, I'm going to upgrade. Or maybe you get an upgrade and go, actually, to be honest, I was happier with my older one, and just sort of take it back to the shop. And, it's like, fluidity, guys, change. You know, it's a great get-out clause for a spiritual teacher, but essentially I'm happy to say that, you know, what I believe today I might not believe tomorrow. So if I give advice or guidance to somebody now, I might not give them the same advice a year from now. And that's okay, because I'm going to be different in a year from now. Thank God, you know, we're constantly growing, we're constantly changing. And the more we can embrace that and welcome that and see that, you know, we're allowed to make mistakes, and we're allowed to change our opinions, and we're allowed to give up on fixed ideas, or, you know, everything can evolve. And that's how we'll sort out, you know, the Middle East. That's how we'll sort out global warming. You know, that's how we'll sort out poverty in Africa, is you know, and war and famine, by changing our relationship to our principles, to our ideas, to our, you know, our concepts, and I think it can happen quite quickly.
Yeah, just transform our energy, really.
Yeah.
Past everything else. Just
Yeah.
get down to the nitty-gritty.
When you realise that we're all human, you know, I love that speech that JFK gave. It was just after the Cuban Missile Crisis, about, you know, that we all breathe the same air, that we're all mortal, you know. And he was, you know, it was like, my God, you know, we came so close to complete destruction. You know, I don't think most people realise just how close. The President of the United States didn't think he would be alive 24 hours later. That's how close that we came to firing off our missiles at one another, as it were. And that's the craziness of this ego, is that it's so hell-bent on its belief and its identity that it will kill, and it will even self-destruct, you know.
How do you do that?
You turn up to yourself and meditate. You turn up to yourself and love yourself. You turn up to yourself and give yourself permission to be emotional. You know, you start honouring your experience rather than resisting it or denying it. And there can be so many ways to start doing that, start plugging into that, and then it becomes this unfolding, this journey, you know, this kind of re-remembrance is what Osho used to call it. You know, this idea that we're waking up to ourselves again when we sit and when we're quiet, and when we dare to kind of look within, because we've become so used to being external in our sense of who we are. You know, our job, our house, our partner, the way we dress, you know, the shoes to die for, you know, whatever. We're so you know, this consumerist society has been so created to satisfy our outward need for goods and for confirmation of a sense of identity. You know. Meditation is a step-by-step process. Mindfulness is a step-by-step process. Baby steps. You know, we never get to the future. Yeah, do you get that? We can never get to the future. We're always just now. So it's like the more we can arrive here and now, the more we can let go of trying, the more we can let go of trying, the more we can let go of planning, the more we can let go of intellectualizing these notions of who am I, or how do I relax, or whatever. Actually, we probably know how to relax. It's an inherent quality within us. It's just that we've lost touch with it. And that could be a million different ways. You know, some people are like, oh, I always take a bath one night a week and just play some classical music and have a glass of wine, and I just, you know, that could be your meditation. It doesn't have to be so rigid. You know, I think a lot of people get put off because it can be rather serious. You know, it certainly looks quite serious. People sitting and, you know, sort of very, can be a bit somber and a bit, you know, this whole sort of navel gazing kind of, you know, or maybe it's a bit too esoteric, it's a bit too hippie shit for me, you know. It's like, it doesn't have to be. It's as hippie shit and esoteric as you want it to be. It could just. So if I can answer that, or try to answer that.
Is managing the ego, I suppose it's like kind of like, what is the key to manage that ego?
Well,
yeah,
the key.
You go into meditation, but maybe sometime you can go.
No, exactly right. And remember that our whole experience is fluid. You know, we're in this incredible. You know, I mean, if you actually stop back to think about it, it's like, I remember reading this from Conversations with God, which is an absolutely awesome series of channeled books. And one of the things that really was like, aha, a really eureka moment for me from reading that book, is this whole idea that in order for us to really experience who we are, we first of all have to experience what we are not. In order for us to experience who we are, we first have to experience who we are not. So there's an ebb and a flow. There are times when we feel calm and grounded and meditative or in balance, and then there are times when we feel out of balance and agitated and stressed. So let go of trying to change that and more embrace the flow and trust in the flow. What is meditation really? It's about nurturing. So, you know, yes, you know, suddenly you might have enough, you might have pain going on or distress going on, and it might be impossible for you to sit and formally meditate or do yoga or qigong or whatever your bag is. But maybe that glass of Chardonnay in the bath, suddenly it's like, okay, I can do that for myself. You know? Back into being. You know, we're called human beings, not human doings and not human thinkings. You know, so get back into beingness. And beingness is a unique experience, and that beingness might have pain in it. And that beingness might have judgment, and it might have noise, and it might have worries, and you know, it's like all of that stuff might be present, but there's also at the same time of that expansiveness, that sense of fluidity and change. And as you progress, so this whole idea of kind of, you know, the soul level, the higher self level, that's really who we are, and we've just become identified with this. And as our energy moves up, you know, there's this whole sort of the major chakra points that rise up, and there's like one frequency on top of the other, just building up and building up and building up and building up. So as that energy builds through the power of mindfulness and all these other, you know, yoga, qigong, tai chi, and then like laughter yoga or biodancer or 5 rhythms and the shamanic stuff, and so it's really important to start where we're at. Start sitting, getting into a closer relationship with things just as they are. It's like, in order for things to really change, we first have to accept them totally just as they are. That is how we change things. We have to totally accept things as they are in order for them to change. And that is the big challenge. Big challenge. I'm going to leave it on that little